Hi there, my name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we are part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where I take a look at the lectionary texts and I tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree or the junk drawer, the kids' room, or the garage. You know, one of those things. I am so glad you are here, and thank you for your partnership in this ministry as we do these things in this time. So I don't know really what that means, but I'm glad you are here. I do know what partnership in the ministry means, and I am so glad for your work for and in and with the gospel as Christ sends and empowers you. So thank you for the work you're doing. All right, so this is for the third Sunday of Easter. And looking at the gospel lesson, looking at Jesus appearing to the disciples, and the charcoal fire, and all of that. So there are so many directions that one can take in this gospel, all over the place. You could talk about the charcoal fire, that word charcoal, and the idea of when you see the charcoal fire, and about how Peter might call back to when he was sitting around a charcoal fire, and talk about maybe there's the connection in movies that kids watch. If you watch Star Wars, what lets you know that you are watching the same series? What would be you're watching Star Wars, and what would tell you the difference between I'm watching Star Wars or over here I'm watching Star Trek? There are those connection points that through, and for Peter, this charcoal fire would be a connection. So that's one. There's just so much stuff in here. So the connection point that I am working, and I am talking about three. Yes, three. And I can't help but pull back to Schoolhouse Rocks, and 3 is the magical number. And the first part, 3 is a magic number. Yes, it is a magic number. Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity, you get 3 as a magic number. And that's Schoolhouse Rock's number 1, actually, is 3 is a magic number. And because in this text there are references to 3, whether spoken, or written as actual 3, or Jesus does something 3 times. There in the text it says, this was the third time that Jesus appeared to the disciples. And when he talks to Peter, he says, do you love me? He says 3 times, which is, of course, a callback to that charcoal fire where Peter denies Jesus 3 times. There's this, with 3, working that 3. So it could be one of the suggestions, and this is the springboard I'm working with, is showing the kids something 3 times. Whether it be you want to show the kids how to tie their shoes. Let me show you how to tie your shoes. You could do something. The idea is to do something 3 times, and about the 3rd time, belaboring the point. I'm going to show you, how to snap your fingers. Take here. That's 1. Now here, what you need to do, and you could do it something where by the 3rd time they've really got the point. And so you can, in that, then pull it back to the text and say, in the Bible, in our Bible story today, 3 is a number that comes up. And this is the 3rd time that Jesus has shown up to his friends, his disciples. And then when Peter and Jesus are talking, Jesus says, do you love me? And then do this. And he says it 3 times. It's important. It's so important that Jesus wants to emphasize this 3 times. Do this, do this, do this. And that connection point of the 3. So that's the springboard I'm using, and really tying it into that song, 3 is a magic number. You could actually, you can find that, and you could play it over, pipe it through your sound system about 3 is a magic number. And if anything, you're going to get any of the Gen X folks to go, oh yeah, Schoolhouse rocks, yeah. Anyway, so that's the springboard. I'm hoping that can be useful for you in your own children's sermon, looking at either the charcoal fire, that callback, the memory piece when you see something. And that is also another thing that you could talk about. Talk about how when you, something that is a memory, something that connects to the past, that helps you remember. I have a poem that I have framed, and it's in my office. I'm in my office. It's actually, I'm pointing over the wall here, but it's a poem that my grandmother wrote for me. And on that poem, it's so endearing. You have here, one second. I'm gonna pause this, and then I'll be right back. All right, I'm back because I wanted to show you. I was going to describe it, but it's right over there. It's actually now right here. So this is a poem that my grandmother wrote me. And what I love about this poem and the memory is that I see this and it reminds me. And see here, that is a coffee ring that my grandmother had set her cup down after she had written this. And I love the fact that I can see that ring. It is the memory of my grandmother, Ma, and it's actually, I love it. And it's, there's a poem and then a benediction that she wrote for me. And I have that on my wall, and that memory attached back. I can only imagine when Peter saw Jesus and the charcoal fire and the memory that connects there. So that is an important springboard for me. And then also 3 is a magic number. So, all right. Hope this can be helpful for your children's sermon. Thank you so much for stopping by. And we will talk to you next time. Peace.